Hello there, welcome to our first talkie bit about Silent Hill 2. This is Peter.
This is Michaela.
And I'm the chump playing Scott.
Yes. You see, what we do is every 7th session we stop and disassemble and talk about and discuss everything that's happened so far. So what did you think of that wonderful, wonderful opening, that long opening? Other than long.
It was very long.
It was long, wasn't it?
Long. It also tried to inject a little bit of creepiness with those footsteps following along. I didn't quite know what they were from. It was very pretty to look at, surprisingly for a PS2 game.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider when it came out. When did it come out? Was it 2002?
I forget.
It was
honest,
pretty. It wasn't far after the first one.
It's at least
I think
10
it was
years
2002, 'cause
ago.
I remember my friends fanboying over it backwards when I was in school, so yeah, must have been there.
But it's it's such an improvement over the first one as well, I think.
Though there's bits you can tell where it's very obviously just this bit of terrain that they've rendered, using the fog to cover up the rest of it.
Yes, the noise does help with that as well, but obviously we have that turned off for our playthrough. I mean, it's almost a quantum leap forward. So you said that James looked a bit like Scott Bakula.
I'm going to be thinking of Jonathan Archer for the rest of the game, really. Except possibly more competent.
Yes, I was going to say we might have to actually explain that Scott Bakula was in a show callalled Quantum Leap, but that might be a bit before some people's times.
He's also in Star Trek Enterprise.
And he was
That's
also
what
in
the
Star Trek,
internet
which
exists
people
for,
might see him.
You can look him up.
Yeah, people might see him from that more now.
I didn't watch Quantum Leap.
I always associate him with Quantum Leap because, I mean, that show ran like forever and was actually really good.
Let's move on from Quantum Leap before we get distracted, I think.
So the mood, comparing it again to Silent Hill 1, is very different. It feels very different. It's very lonely and isolated. And
I've always got this feeling that I'm being watched by something everywhere. Like I said, the footsteps, it makes me feel that something's tailing me, keeping an eye on me.
maybe it's the guy from the white van.
Which one?
Well, because it's all the same white van.
Okay. That might explain it.
Yeah, something that you probably haven't noticed so far. There's the same white van asset over and over again in the game.
There's more than one thing that does that, rather, I was going to say. For example, there's a car with an open back that's green. That's repeated a lot too. But the van is so noticeable.
No, it's white, bright white, and stands out in the terrain. The blue one sort of just blends into the grey and the green.
Yes, we were saying during the it's still sort of in the opening sequence that there's an awful lot of just walking, and then just to make a change, more walking, and it was quite a risky approach. So what did you think? Did that work?
It set the tone for the game, I think. You do meet that woman on the way.
Angela.
Yeah.
Is that in it?
Yes, we haven't found out who she is. Don't worry, it doesn't ruin it knowing she's Angela. It just gives us something to call her by. So yes, she's called Angela, yeah.
Okay. She seems slightly freaked out by meeting a random guy in a graveyard.
Right. Isn't that understandable?
From the looks of it, the town is deserted for the most part.
Okay.
So
There
I
are
didn't
still,
mean to scare you.
that's something different from
I'm kind of
Silent
lost.
Hill 1. There are definite people that were in the town, rather than just the odd one or
Lost?
two that were drawn in. It seems to be a more common thing to happen now.
I do see what you mean, by the way, with Angela. She did seem off more than usual for just meeting a strange guy in a graveyard.
Anyone still alive in Silent Hill is probably off.
But the town does look more lived in, like you say.
Yeah. There's more corpses around. Well, more corpses that were at least recognisably human.
So it looks like it's been lived in, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like the way the first enemy was introduced?
I did, because you noticed it in the background when James was examining the radio, and you were wondering when he was going to notice this flailing thing and moving in the background next to him.
And there was the whole following sequence we were saying it was very much like the first Silent Hill where you chase Cheryl through the fog.
Except this time you don't get brutally murdered.
Yeah, you kind of turn it on its head.
it also has a butt.
Are you going to elaborate on that? Or?
Because obviously a lot of the monsters are very sexualized, even when they're very grotesque. So you've got even the creepy, buggy crawling around on the floor one that it is. It has a butt.
The lying figure.
Yeah. Because there's also the shiny legged enemy. Very sexy too.
The mannequin.
Mm.
2 butts. What did you think of the lighting in the apartments? I mean, more than the fact that it was just a step up from the first one.
I noticed that the lighting changed almost completely once you got the hold of the torch.
Yeah, it's amazing transformation, yeah.
But even the places you went to that were just normal, like grey and murky, just went black as well.
Yeah, when you have the torch, your cone is more lit up and outside is blacker than it used to be.
I didn't look again with the torch off, so I can't really say.
Yeah, we sort of say it's like a fake HDR effect that you see in games now when you see a bright light and it makes everything else around it look dimmer.
It's a very clever effect for the time, obviously 10 years ago now.
And of course we had another character that was introduced in 2 ways. First of all, we saw him looking at us through some bars.
Just standing, waiting.
And not doing anything.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the guy who's watching us.
It's a possibility. Though how you can see with that big thing on his head, I'm not entirely sure.
He either sees or smells, I'm not really sure which. Because that's sort of how he realises you're in the cupboard, or the wardrobe, or the cabinet, or whatever you'd like to call it.
Closet.
And then you shoot him and he gets bored and wanders off.
Yeah. What did you think about that whole sequence, though?
Convenient placement of bullets.
Yeah, it does rather place them there so it doesn't have to pinch them from your inventory.
Well, it's a very infamous scene, because obviously you have all the sexual violence.
The overtones of it, yeah, the implication. There were a couple of puzzles. There was the clock puzzle, which sort of teases you, because it goes, here's the clue, you know the solution, and now you can't open the clock.
Yeah, I figured out quickly that the names were hours, minutes and seconds, and it was pointing to the... I think the clue in on the book was rather unnecessary, really.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, actually, because I was going to say, I usually miss it.
Yeah, you can do the whole thing without reading it.
Yeah, I missed it, and I just kind of worked it out from the fact that they're arrows, and it has... I don't know if you noticed...
in seconds.
Yeah, HM and S, and it's got a little point even that shows you which way it's pointing.
Yeah.
So it was relatively easy to figure out. The clue does help, I think. It makes it quicker to work it out. Because, I didn't solve it instantly. I looked at it and sort of went, oh, I don't know what that is. You figured out the throwing out the canned juice down at the garbage chute, which I didn't.
That was more... It's the only thing... on the map it had a circle around it, so it meant something. And the can was the only thing that I picked up that hadn't been used so far. So I figured that might have something to do with it. So, worth a shot. So
has Silent Hill 2 met your expectations? Exceeded your expectations?
Too early to tell.
Too early to tell? Other than graphically, because it does look amazing still.
And the voice acting is as terrible as Silent Hill 1.
Yes, they actually sound like conversations now.
So the dialogue between Angela and James?
Yes.
Seems a bit off.
Although we do think that's deliberate.
You enjoyed it so far, though?
Yeah, so far.
It's good, good.
At least he's not like Harry. What's this? Who's that? What's this? What's that?
And so you're looking forward to playing more?
Yeah.
So we'll see you again next week for more Silent Hill 2. We hope you've enjoyed everything you've seen so far, and we hope you'll stick around for more. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.